Hey guys, welcome to Occultists Anonymous, which is presented to you by, not presented to you by, sponsored by Roll20, Onyx Path, and viewers like you. Thank you very much to everybody. Thank you to our Discord folks, our YouTube folks, our podcast folks, and our Twitch folks. We have 4 types of folks, and some of them do both. Or multiple, which is kind of ridiculous. And then a special thank you and shout out to our patrons. We really appreciate you guys. You are awesome. Thank you for supporting us monetarily. Every little bit counts. So thank you. To Alexander, Cat Feathers, Giovanni, Noba, Danny, Josh, Michael, Brandon, Samuel, Perry, James, Schmitty, Thomas, Claire, and Ryan. Thank you guys, and I regret every time I decide to resort it, because then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, did I say them all? Yes, I did. I just did it in different order. When we last left our cabal,
Benjamin goddamn Franklin.
They were in Philly, meeting with Benjamin Franklin and
Steampunk Granddad.
Alexander Hamilton and John Jay. Well, Jay was up in a greenhouse growing weird things, and I think literally we left off with Ben Franklin saying, all right, well, let's help find you this grimoire. That was words. And get you on back over to New York and out of their hair. Which, I mean, sure. And yes, in case you did happen to miss the last episode, Ben Franklin does look like Steampunk Granddad. He's late 70s.
He's the new star of the show.
He's very cool.
Slick.
We actually rolled dice over the course of this week to see who's going to now play Steampunk Granddad, and I won. So here we go. Songbird is dead, and I am now Steampunk Granddad.
That would cause some rage, because I know there are some big Songbird fans out there. So
yeah, and I love every single one of you because you're making the right choice.
At least it's not Mammoth. So
I wonder how they feel
now. Okay, cool. So I'm going to move that back over to the New York. They should get a Philadelphia one. Anyways, that's on Roll20. Don't you guys worry about that at home. So yeah, cool. So as far as I am good with, you guys pick up right there talking with Ben Franklin. And as I mentioned in Discord, he's like, yeah, let's find you guys this stuff. And he's ready to summon up the supernal being. And he's leaning on his cane, kind of looking around, just making sure the conversation is just the 5 of you. Wait, 4 of you. 4. Gabe is 5, right? Yeah. And basically says, hey, so can you find that supernal being again? And since this one seems friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can.
Okay.
I don't have the mastery to decide that it will be.
I mean, you got his name.
Space, but I do have his name. I figured that's
good enough.
I don't actually know in universe.
It is not.
If that's okay.
No, like you, even having the space dots to target a prime and space, there's no guarantee that you would necessarily summon up intersection.
Okay.
But yeah, when you mentioned that you don't have the space. I think it's adept, that he basically nods and says, okay, well, then we will prepare the place appropriately and see if we can, zone in.
Cool.
And I will let you lead. And if you give me a moment, I will find some other Abrimos among the Free Council, and we will do this properly.
Hell yeah.
And then he kind of points with the head of his cane, which you recognize now is a stylized kite kind of flying. Yeah, because of course it is, right?
That's rad as fuck.
Absolutely.
This guy's so cool.
And just kind of points with that and over to when this was an actual warehouse, probably was very likely. Hi, Sarah. Was very likely a manager's office or for whatever was done in here. He says, if you'll meet me there, you make yourselves comfortable. The door should be unlocked. And I will round up a few others. And as he kind of draws away, do you guys catch him or do you just go ahead and...
I want to cast a quick spell.
Sure.
As he's walking away.
Mm-hmm. Oh, while you're doing that, Craig, the die rolls didn't actually matter?
No.
Okay.
I was just playing with die codes.
Gotcha. What spell are we casting, by the way?
We are casting Supernal Vision.
Ah, I can't remember what that one does. I'm just trying to sound educated.
It lets me see how strong he is at the magics.
Ah, I do remember that one. Now you reminded me. Because that's a 1 dot, isn't it? Yep.
What's that?
It's a 1 dot, yeah.
So I just need a bunch of potency to ask a bunch of questions.
Oh, about him. I see. Yeah.
There's no withstand or anything.
Right.
So I'm not even going to punch it up. I'm just going to throw Gnosis Prime and Shadow Name at it real quick.
Sure.
Like scouting out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll add 2 more potency to it. So it'll be -4.
Okay.
So all said and done, 6 dice.
Mm-hmm. Well, sure then.
Sure. Started off right with 8 successes on 6 dice.
Oh, and you've got 8 again from
For my Shadow Name.
Shadow Name. How long?
Mm-hmm.
How long was that spell going to last?
It's like
A month.
right?
Month. Yeah. Cool. Shoot, I forgot to post our character sheets. I'll do that after the show. Okay, cool. So
Cool.
yes, 8 successes. How
I'm
would
going to
you
take
like
a
that?
condition.
Okay. What do we want to do here? Yeah, actually, let's do just a straight up +2 to occult.
Okay.
And just like this eye-opening, I see things kind of thing. And of course,
Cool.
remember to get a willpower back.
I will.
So
I
cool.
Actually,
So
didn't have any to get back, but that's
1, 2,
fine.
3, you.
5 questions.
Oh, because you did potency down by 2. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Indeed.
So I am going to go. What is the target's nimbus?
Like it is a. Well, hang on. Their targets. Oh, that's weird. So they don't differentiate between long-term nimbus and stuff. So yeah, basically it is, hair standing on end, crackling lightning about to drop. Yeah.
All right. And then I want to know their 2 highest arcanum and how good they are at it. I mean, I have a guess, but
Forces 5 and space 5.
cool. That makes sense.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Yep,
Gotta kind of a gauge him.
So yeah, you cast that kind of, and there's like a number of folks who like watch you suddenly as because they have active mage side up, and you can see them kind of recoiling as your nimbus kind of lashes out a little bit, and there's some of them look to be moving to as if to react, and then they realize, okay, wait, hang on, spell was cast on himself, he's not doing anything, and there's some slightly suspicious eyes, like you just throwing spells around, but okay. You're in somebody else's house, kind of thing.
Sure.
But nobody is upset. Just like, well,
It's not like I shit on the rug though.
right. So yeah, you make your way over to this small little office space that when you open is it looks, it's organized, but it is a hodgepodge of every path. In the very, very stereotypical ways. So there is a 5-pointed star engraved on the ground, and on the walls, intermixed amongst each other, are, like classic depictions of fairies sitting next to demons, next to angels, next to spirits of death, next to these monstrous minotaurs and fantastical beasts, and it almost looks like a really demented children's nursery, like with just all these depictions. They're wonderfully painted and stuff like that, and they all have a matching scheme of art style. They're all done by the same artist, but they're all intermingling, and some show them fighting, some show them standing together. It's just this massive little kind of collage, I guess, just along every single wall. There's some fairly large, comfortable, they've seen some use office furniture type couch, right? There have been many a nap taken on this, like between work shifts kind of feel. But it definitely seems cleared out for that middle space of, working and stuff like that. There's a little desk with like a lectern kind of set up, for somebody to set a book or to lead a spell or something like that. Overall, it's probably a 20 by 20 space, so it's fairly large. But you guys go in there, have a moment to yourselves, and then a few minutes later, Benjamin Franklin returns, and he's got a number of other folks that you'd seen out and about, who kind of nod at you all, and kind of very clearly following Ben Franklin's lead. And he turns to Atratus and Weird and says, if you ladies will excuse us, that'll make this a little bit easier.
We've got some universe shit to do.
Of course.
Can we come in when it's here?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And he points, he kind of steps out the door and points at a little light fixture, and he presses
Turn it on.
He presses a button on the inside, and it's now red. And he presses a button and it flips to green. He says, "Enter when the light is green," and then he shuts the door.
All right.
So
Great.
are we alone now?
We're just sitting in the hall.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is a big open factory floor kind of thing. But yeah, the two
We're
of you are
alone.
kind of
There's
standing
no
there.
one paying particular attention to us right now.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to be here for a little while, Atratus. I just, I want to warn, I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I thought I had what I was going to say down, but now I can't. Just,
If you wanted, we can backtrack a little, because like I said, you were in that room.
no.
Okay.
This is the perfect time to have it happen. And I'm speaking as word when I say I had it all planned out, and the words aren't coming. I don't want you to get hurt. So just be aware that Songbird may not be as committed to this whole thing that we're doing than we may have thought.
Okay.
Just when everything went down recently, he told me that he was perfectly happy going and working with the arrows, and he used that as leverage to get me to tell him some things that I didn't want to tell him. And I didn't want to lose him from our cabal, so I did. But just be aware that he's got other plans, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, he's done all right by me.
And it was a stressful time.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say things they don't mean when they're under stress, but he sounded pretty convincing that he was 100% prepared to just leave and go work with the arrows.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Just something to keep in mind, that's all.
Sure.
That's
And
it?
yeah, you guys find a comfy spot. There, like I said, there's tables and chairs, kind of strewn about the place. You guys kind of sit down, while inside, unless Songbird, you have something to actually chat with Ben Franklin. He kind of motions to you, and as you've got these 5 other figures, male, female, various group all standing, and kind of they spread out, kind of flanking Ben, and they motion. This is Songbird, one of our sisters from the New York Concilium, and she will be leading our summoning. However you would like us to proceed. And unless you want to actually talk this out, we can just start rolling. See how many hours it'll take.
I do have that spell you and I talked about.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Yes.
So I want to try that out on the space. I'm envisioning it as projecting it onto the space. So I had an idea of a basically prime 3 spell that would add, like, you're suffusing the area and preparing it as part of a summoning ritual, and would add potency, extra safe rolls to the ritual, aligning the space more closely to the supernal and stuff like that. So that's kind of the imago I've got.
Like a geomancy?
Similar, kind of pulling from that. Okay.
Cute dog.
Holy moly. Instant and
Duration.
extended duration. Cool. 6.
And then I needed to get it up to the next step to go to a day, just because I don't know how long the rolls. Yeah, because each roll's an hour, so advanced doesn't really super help.
Cool.
So the next step.
And then -6.
So 6 dice.
2 from duration. Yeah.
Ooh.
Ow. So yeah, you take a minute in front of all these people from the Philadelphia, in front of Steampunk Grandpa, and go watch.
All right, so that didn't work. We'll work on that on my own.
Real quick, let me roll a chance die for Paradox.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, no. Definitely domain. Who am I kidding?
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn it. Okay. Not a great start.
You want to try again real quick?
No, I'm okay.
All right, cool. So basically these folks in here plus Ben fricking Franklin himself, go ahead and roll your Gnosis plus Prime plus 5.
Plus 5. Wow.
From the assistants. And if I remember correctly, you're going to need, I worked this out, 60.
Do we have any sort of cleansing ritual the group can do or anything like that?
They had not planned on it.
Okay, that's fine. Then I think it's 17.
Okay. And then they have a prepared room, so that's subtracting 3, so 14.
So 14?
Okay.
All right. And these are not 8s again.
Nope.
So Gnosis plus Prime plus 5? Woof. All right. Yep.
1. And you're
starting out strong.
5. I don't think we're going to have to worry about additional safe rolls.
Jesus.
There you go.
Oh my god.
For those of you on the
successes.
podcast, that was 1 success, 4 successes, 10 successes, and that's not cumulative. That was each of those separate.
Holy shit.
So
so that does it.
Yeah. And so, just to kind of add some flavor here, it takes a minute for everybody else to like figure out they're like, this dude is not chanting to angels. This dude is like mid bloodlust. Well, this lady is mid bloodlust and like, okay, we can get into this. All right. And, and start, very aggressively chanting and, calling down fire rather than, beseeching
one dude
the
sitting in the
heavens.
corner is banging the shit out of a drum.
Right. And they're like, okay, we got this. All right. And then
we're not praying to the Christian angels.
Yes. And intersection just, forms and kind of looks and like his eyes zoom right to Benjamin Franklin and starts to open his mouth and stops. Turns,
Sup, dude?
Turns, looks at you, goes, interesting. You have accepted a further truth of yourself. Very well. I give you the same challenge as before. You must pass me. And and this time, like before, where he was like in that,
he's ready.
This time you watch as he drops kind of low, like sumo, and beckons at you.
All right. Cool. I'm just gonna. The running knee strike worked well before, right?
So you're going to actually try and hit him?
Yeah.
Okay. So roll your strength plus brawl minus 4 for his defense.
Okay.
He's a big target.
Yeah.
So it said you've never seen the angel wrestling.
Yeah. Oh wait, I didn't subtract the 4. Sorry.
What was the one from?
The one
Oh,
is
your
from
specialization.
my specialization.
Gotcha.
So 3 dice. God damn it. I'm just gonna roll. I can't do math on things, so I'm gonna put a willpower into it.
Okay, well,
So 6
actually, if
dice.
you're going to put the willpower in it, let's just go ahead and leave it at 3 successes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if you drop the last die, it's
Fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you, like I said, flying. You try that flying D, and you can tell he was like, "Haha, I'm ready for you." And at this point now,
And just
he's
hit him, like, right in the
crouched
chest.
down, and he goes, "Okay, well, this one's smart." And, and like he's hit, and like his body rocks back, and then impossibly just whoop, centers himself again,
Mm-hmm.
and reaches out to grab you.
Mm-hmm.
What's your defense?
7.
Man,
And I think
poor baby.
I'll spend a mana to activate life armor.
Which
So
does,
I'll bump it up to 8.
Okay, it adds defense. Okay, cool.
It's half as powerful, but you get half of it as defense as well,
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
which is really cool.
Okay, so
should
sorry.
do
What was your final defense?
8.
Okay,
-3.
Chance die.
no, it was an actual die.
Oh, okay, it's an actual die. All right.
Yeah, so he reaches out, and you just kind of flow past, and your move.
So he like reaches past, and I think I try and like do like a step kick right to the back of his knee.
Okay.
And I'll spend another willpower.
Okay.
So it'd be
7, 10, -4, 6.
so just straight up.
Cool. Yeah. So that drops him down into a awkward spot, and I think
Cool.
at that point,
I kind of step off and like drive myself past him with that.
right. And that's what I was thinking. Is like at that point you just kind of switch around, and he kind of stops, and like he starts to move, and then you can actually see from behind there's a not resignation, but a okay, and kind of just brings himself up, and he goes, very well. And just like as you're kind of focused on here, you hear a little click over in the corner outside you guys, and the little green light turns on.
Bursting through the door.
And you watch this intersection, lifts his head, and recognizes. Actually, was weird. Had you met intersection? I'm trying to remember.
It was you weren't there.
Nope.
I was there,
Nope.
and Mammon was there.
There. Okay.
No, we all asked him questions. I thought you asked him a question.
Okay.
Nope,
Okay.
first time.
Okay. So yeah, looks at Atratus, nods, looks at Weird, nods. There's and for Weird, there is it's not cold and apathetic, but it's just an acknowledgement of that is a thing. Okay. And for both Weird and for Atratus, it's they're not a Brimos, doesn't have anything against you, doesn't have anything really for you, just kind of looks, then kind of turns back around towards Songbird and says, very well, why have you summoned me? Have you lost another grimoire?
Nope, we're just closer to it.
I see.
Welcome to Philadelphia.
Okay. And so you need me to find your grimoire again?
I am requesting that you would.
Nods. This is very well. And kind of kneels back down as before, that kind of samurai, pose.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the Obrimos are like looking around, and you definitely get a feel that like this isn't the normal interaction that they see with a mage and a supernal being. Hard to read, just by default.
Can I try and roll some empathy to figure out what they're
if anybody wants
feeling?
to,
wits and empathy?
yeah, that sounds about right. Anybody else is also totally okay to roll?
I have a +2. I have a condition that gives me a +2 to empathy. So
Oh,
I
nice.
guess I can resolve that.
Do that shit.
My empathy is at a -1 though, so it's
Well, still, it'll resolve it at least.
it'll be a +1 then. No.
Nope. We ain't got shit.
Nope. I take a arcane
Craig,
beat
is
though.
weird rolling? Yeah.
Arcane beat,
So yeah,
yes.
looking around, Songbird and Tratus, you're like you can see that they're kind of, they're not put off. You're just like, they're very quizzical. Craig, looking around and like seeing all the symbols and stuff like that, and the way like some of them are like kind of holding themselves in a kind of very formal position and stuff like that. Definitely going to feel that like this very conversational way of talking with a supernal being seems very weird to them.
That makes sense.
The only way we've ever done it.
Yeah, you guys did not bother to wait to ask mentors about summoning supernal beings, so you guys are just on your own.
Kind of went for it. It's
And
worked.
again, like for me, this whole experience is strange because like when you're summoning a fae, like you don't ask for anything. It's
Be
this
very
is what you're
careful,
going to
yeah.
do, and then that's the complete transaction. This is all kind of weird.
Yep.
For me, thing.
Meanwhile, I had a nice little chat with the stingy that showed up and asked to come into my soul.
Yeah, the Epiron. Yes, Intersection kind of sits and starts to, prepares, and Benjamin Franklin says, a moment, and like says something to one of the other Abrimos, who goes running out, and Benjamin, is looking at Songbird. This might help. And a moment later, this, Abrimos comes running in, hands.
Got a map.
Yes, and there's the big road map of Philadelphia, and he kind of sets it down, or Benjamin Franklin sets it down in front of the kneeling Intersection, kind of like gives him it's not like a it's just a bow of respect, and sets it down, kind of backs away. I was like,
Bunch of fucking nerds.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of respect to it, and Intersection kind of nods and says that is easier, and just kind of holds his hand up, eyes closed, and then just suddenly drops his finger and presses down on one part of the map. He says, "Here," and everybody kind of cranes over as he draws his finger back,
It's way easier than my plan. Thank you.
He says, "Well, I can help a little bit, and for you guys over in Roll20." You obviously do not see this exact thing. You see some streets and stuff like that. What just happened? Oh, I swapped you, and there we go. So yeah, there is an address, and
Fancy house.
and Benjamin Franklin takes one look. He says, "Linwood Hall."
Oh, you know it.
Oh, I do know it. It was quite a big deal when I was growing up. It was still kind of well known. There was a lot of hubbub about it. We could talk about that more later. And kind of looks over to Intersection and is like, and kind of motions at Songbird and is like, you're running the show, so.
Sure. Very well. I hadn't thought very far past this.
Do we have any more questions for him?
I have so many questions, but I don't know. I want to ask him about himself. Try and persuade him to give me any sort of info about what the Aether is really like a chance to learn a bit of real actual knowledge.
You can try that.
I didn't know how to phrase that though, so that's why I just
okay. But I mean, yeah, you can narrate that is what you're going to ask him.
Sure.
But do regardless of what you were doing, please roll presence plus persuasion.
Okay. Any modifiers or? He likes me well enough.
You're no Brimos. There you go. Quick reminder, everybody at home. Yes, Songbird does have 5 in persuasion, so can't lie for shit.
I'm a face.
Yep. But intersection nods and says, there are things that well, I will narrate and answer. But basically, it comes down to him explaining that, like, his perception of the supernal and your perception are vastly different. Because, you know, what you see as ground and rocks and paths and stuff like that for him are just raw, like, elemental forces and objects. You know, so basically it comes down to, I could tell you what I see, but it would mean absolutely nothing to you. But in short, it is, you know, much as your world is normal and, you know, comfortable to you, so is that world to him. And coming here is a very weird trip. To see things that are, because basically everything here is a shadow of a supernal thing, you know. And so it's everything is just this shadowy, bland place, and the only thing that is interesting are mages. Kind of waving his hand over all of you.
Do we look different to you based on path?
He smiles and goes, "Yes, Dark One." No, but you know, Stygian or something like that.
Right.
Yes, I see the paths that you are forged on.
Cool. So I don't know what else to ask him to do, because I'm getting this like talk away from him sort of situation from Benjamin Franklin. I really want to fucking mage sight him so bad, but that's so intrusive. And
sure, bud.
No, it's so rude. All
Just
right.
like open it up to the room. Just like, anyone else have a question?
And then, like, the rest of the Abrimos are like,
no, we're good.
I mean,
everybody's
he's cool.
good.
We're okay.
9 foot tall, giant, rad dude.
Yeah, Benjamin kind of looks at the other Abrimos and he says, "No, I think we were okay."
All right. Well, Intersection, I appreciate your help. I hope to see you again one day, perhaps.
Perhaps.
All right.
He's gone. And immediately Ben Franklin turns at you and says, "Why did he look like that?"
Because he's a rad dude.
That was no angel I have ever seen. And like, as he walks out, like, he has been stock still this entire time. As he walks, he is like shaking. He's like, "What the fuck?" Like, that was a vastly different being than he is ever used to seeing when summoning angels. But he kind of, you know, leads the group out and kind of ushers everybody out. A lot of the other Abrimos kind of spread, and you can hear them talking about this very weird, where was his wings? You know, kind of stuff. And, Ben, is holding the map and kind of walks over to a table.
White privilege, fucking asshole Abrimoses.
Are they?
Yeah.
Christian privilege, fine.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of them use very similar paths, similar to Acanthus. Very often use Fae, you know, stuff like that. You could use something else to, resemble trickery and chants and stuff like that. But yeah,
these are very Hadromiel style. Yeah.
And so he brings that the map over and sets it back down and points, and he says, "Yes, that is Linwood Hall. It has a fairly storied past. It is well known in Philadelphia. It once belonged to a wealthy entrepreneur." Craig, have you Googled Linwood Hall?
Yeah.
And you guys...
It's a nice little place, 110 rooms.
The largest single-owned, like, building, like, single home or single family residence in the U.S. It is huge.
Cool.
It looks
Yeah.
pretty big.
Yeah, well, the image for you guys on Roll20, that, well, actually, I can ping it. That
It doesn't really
building-
have a good sense of scale.
Right.
Yeah.
That building right there is where they had their indoor pool.
Mm-hmm.
This
All
whole
right. That's pretty
middle
good.
section,
It's like a football field.
yeah, it's enormous. There's some other pictures out there that you can find, but yeah, it is pretty gnarly. But he says, yeah,
I like that it's across the street from what looks like a regular ass neighborhood.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Literally off this map, southwest, there is a Home Depot.
Nice.
But yeah, he brings over and says, yeah, so it was originally built by this gentleman who I cannot remember his name. Benjamin Franklin remembers his name. The gentleman passed, and along with his wife, and so everything passed on to his son, and then his son died on the Titanic.
Mm.
And with no legitimate heirs or a will, it was passed through trusts, and now it is owned. And this is, for those of you who may be Googling Linwood Hall, this is where we deviate from real history. And basically says it went to a trust, and then is now a private residence, where once they had allowed tours of this its grand architecture and this, and you can hear like Ben is into old buildings and
history.
stuff like the founding
Fitting.
father, right? Yeah. And he's very much into this, and he basically says, it's now a private residence. It's not, nobody's allowed in there. They used to be toured, but now somebody has bought it, turned it from a museum back into a actual residence. But Ben doesn't know who it is. It's a private citizen.
I can try to find out.
Yeah, he nods and yeah, absolutely. And kind of, he looks, kind of down at the spot, and he's like, if that is where your grimoire is, it is a large place. I know of no awakened connection to the place. So
We know there was a mage there, though.
right, he nods. He says, exactly. So I suggest you move carefully, whether it be seer or nameless or apostate. I have no further information there, and bluntly, this is not our problem. So take care. If you have further assistance needed of us, please let me know. But this is, he says this is now an adamantine arrow problem.
Sure. I'm going to leave Atratus to do some computer shit, I guess, is what you're trying to do.
Yeah, basically what I did for the other house when I went.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, it's not like stuck in my craw that, like, they might think that I'm, like, a weird Abrimos or that they think I'm, like, doing things wrong. And so I think I, like, follow after Benjamin Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, so, like, I got some very strange vibes, and, like, I understand, like, you have never seen an angel like that.
Yeah, no cherubim. Yeah, like that. Agreed.
Do you have any sort of insight as to why it might be so different?
Very likely based on your background and thoughts and traditions and kind of, motions, up and down where, he is,
Mostly because of this.
Yes. Yeah. He kind of, and he motions at himself, who's, in a suit, and a lot of the other Abrimos look like teacher, professor, pastor, very,
Deacons.
very, those kind of positions.
It's because I'm the most Thyrsus Abrimos ever.
Right. It's very, they can come in any, shapes and forms. So I think they just form themselves to our expectations. And that was not my expectation.
Fair.
Yep. Cool. So yeah, Ash, if you want to go ahead and roll, you can definitely find a computer somewhere in here because this is free council territory and they are all about some technology.
It's wits and computer.
If you're doing that search,
Yeah.
absolutely. could also use academics, whichever you would prefer.
Which is better? There were 3. It's fine.
Okay.
2 successes.
Cool. So as you begin to search, you basically narrow down, a lot of that history that Ben had mentioned. And I'm just going to Google it real quick.
I'm looking for property sales records.
Right. For Peter A.B. Widener, built between 1897 and 1900, considered the last surviving Gilded Age mansion in the Philadelphia area. Then the guy died, and then his eldest son and grandson both died on the Titanic in 1912. And then a lot of the estate grounds was sold off. That's why everything else is encroached in on it. But then sometime in 1960, it was repurchased by a bank or something like that. That's kind of like you can see the bank bought it, and then it kind of gets fuzzy. So if you want to go ahead and roll again, you dig deeper, enter the dark web. A lot of hacking.
1960 is like a, kind of plot relevant sort of time frame too.
60 years. Yeah.
So you kind of search around, and have to dig through a backlog of firm changing hands, and it definitely looks like it was a bit of a white elephant. Like people kept passing it and selling it around, and from 1962 to 1965, it probably changed hands more than a dozen times as people just kept selling it, and you can see people some firms and banks rebuying it. And it's getting passed around all over the place, and then suddenly it just ends. Let me see here.
I'm looking at that going, this house is haunted. That's the only excuse for passing it off like this.
Now, notably, it is still clean and neat and stuff like that. It does not look like the images that one might find if you were to Google the place.
Is this the really cool Art Deco building that's in disrepair now?
I believe so. I don't know how Art Deco it was, but yeah. But yes.
The one I'm thinking of was the last Art Deco building in Philadelphia. It had a tower, and you can see
tower.
No, I'm thinking of okay.
So now I'm curious what building that is.
No, it's really beautiful and very sad that it is falling apart, but it's still there.
And then it is now owned by a S. Roberts.
S. Roberts. That sounds fake. Can I find any information on that, or is it just a name?
There's no link unless you just go Googling S. Roberts.
That's,
right.
That's going to help. No.
Cool. Yeah, that is what
All
you
right.
dig up from that.
So I think I'll come back over to the group and, Travis, what you got for us?
I've got a name. It doesn't seem to be a very helpful name, but this place got passed around a lot. Something is fishy about it. There's no reason for that to have happened.
I mean, other than owning a 1,000-room or 100-room mansion is very
It's only
expensive.
100 rooms, guys.
It got handed off a lot in a very short period of time before this Roberts got it.
All right. So
Craig
what's our
has
next step?
Focus face.
Weird. You got any ideas?
Maybe, but I'd have to see the place, I think, to...
All right.
Is there anyone, how we asked around about Graves, or what was his name at the time? Johnson?
Mhm.
That's who we thought we were asking about. We could ask about this name to see if there is a record of any mage called that.
Oh,
I mean,
gotcha.
probably wouldn't know by that name.
Yeah, unless you had
shadow names and stuff.
Right. Between shadow names and missing a actual first name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And like you said, quite possibly fake.
Yeah. Okay, well, do you want to go, like, drive by the place, check it out?
Sounds good. I guess we can
Uber?
drive. I mean, we can.
Call up Santiago.
I doubt
Or-
that. We can rent a car.
That's what I was thinking.
I want to look at his cool car.
Cool. So yeah, you guys, get an Uber.
Probably take an hour or so
Yep.
and go rent a car.
So what kind of car are we getting? We got a coupe. We got a sedan. We got a.
Something inconspicuous.
Sure.
Like a fucking black Toyota Corolla.
Sure.
Just blend in with every other fucking car.
Yep. So yeah, you guys make your way up. It is super easy. Like you don't. It's like, what was the address? Oh, right, Linwood Hall. GPS takes me right there.
Got it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you come up to this house. Based on what my map was saying, it's about an hour drive. And you head basically kind of north out of Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And come up, and yeah, so there is this road that kind of comes around it. The entrance gate is up there on that north end.
Mm-hmm.
And that it is closed because duh. But then there is a little speaker that you can drive up to and stuff like that. The gate is the large fence, tall, very gorgeous but very wrought iron. The front gate itself looks nice, and there's some fairly modern security in terms of there's a camera up there. The little box that you drive up to does not look like it's from the 1960s. It looks like it's from 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how up into the house do we want to get right now? Because I can make it so the security system can't see us, and I can bend these bars out of the way, or just evaporate them so we can just get in.
I don't think super aggro right from the start is probably the right answer.
That doesn't seem to be the best plan right now, but if we need to get in, we can.
And the fence does look eminently scalable. It's got large points on it, but it's not like barbed wire or something like that. This is something that an average teenager would look, I could get over that and actually do it.
Sure.
Could also just bend them out of the way and put them back.
give her matter 3, and all of a sudden she's gone crazy with power.
I can do that with shaping.
I'm going to turn my mage sight on.
Okay.
As we're kind of drive back and forth around that curve and look in and see if I can notice anything in particular.
See any spells on it?
At this distance, you do not see anything on the grounds or along the fence line or anything like that as you kind of drive and do a loop. There's potential that there's magic inside,
right.
But without actually
probable even.
Right. Yeah. Without having eyes on it, you don't see anything.
Sure.
Though I will mention, because Ash, you do have your little find composition. There is definitely something that matches that thing, but let's be honest, intersection just told you, but now it's aha. And notably, as you're kind of driving without getting closer, you don't have a great telling of it.
Right.
But triangulation, and you're pointing basically right at it, more or less, you can tell it's basically on the second floor of that middle section there.
Okay.
So I want to run something past you, Drew.
Yes.
About casting postcognition combined with shifting the odds.
Uh-huh.
He's like, oh god. This is the worst Acanthus timeline.
Yeah, I was just saying, two of my favorite spells. No, what is your goal here?
So, like, I'm not. Reach is going to be an issue here, especially with those 3. So I'm looking to zone in on, like, I don't want to have a huge amount of time because that's just more reach than I can handle right now. So I'm using post-cognition to zone me in on significant events, like a timeline where a significant event happened here related to the grimoire.
Let us take a look at shifting the odds.
Like, and call it quick and dirty or whatever, but that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Well, yeah, it's it honestly sounds like a combined spell. You're, well, not combined spell, but using a conjunctive spell, using two arcana. So we're talking, because you've got time 2. So we can do post-cognition. That covers that. And then fate, you've got up to fate 3. Well, okay, let's read post-cognition. Because I think you're potentially onto something here. And I like it because the concept is really cool.
You should figure out how to make it work.
I'm just making sure, like, are we really, is this a thing? I think we are.
Like, I'm not going to have enough reach to go back 30 years, so, or whenever it was that got lost, right?
Because bear in mind, you could. Because remember, you just picked a time.
Right, but, so sure, I could look at that time, but that's a fairly narrow window.
Right.
So if I want to look at the entire last 40 years or whatever, that's going to be way more reach than I'm comfortable trying to float right now.
By default, I need to change go with time 2, which you have. Can use distant time, which is withstood. Using real time while viewing loses all defense, you can scrub. So yeah, so basically you're trying to pluck out of the timeline some significant event. Okay, so the one thing I will not give you is you can't pinpoint something that is significant to the grimoire. You don't have the grimoire available. That's not something that you can target.
Sure.
So yeah, you would basically be looking at significant events for the area, or you can target the house as a subject.
That's what I was going to be doing.
Right. The issue,
like,
here,
I'm looking for clues about the grimoire. Like, that's what I'm after.
Right.
Not necessarily the grimoire itself.
The other issue here is going to be your sense of place. Because, like, you could touch it and then you're there and could walk around in it, like in Mammon's apartment, or at a distance, trying to think of.
What if I cast it with sympathetic range? It was sympathetic range.
No, sensory range, not sympathetic.
Yeah, sensory. Yeah, that's what I. If I cast with sensory range, like, I can be right there. Like, when I'm doing post-cognition, I'm not actually limited to. I'm limited to the area.
Oh, just like
when select,
when you jump to Sylvia. I'm trying to find our boundaries.
Sure.
But I think, yes, there's 100%, like, you could totally do that. I'm just, DM side, I'm going, okay, what exactly would you be able to see?
What precedent am I setting for
I'll
the campaign?
Like, unless, to my thinking, unless I actually covered the entirety of the house, I wouldn't be able to, like, walk around the whole building or anything, or so that's matters of scale are going to come into it, right?
That's the biggest thing for me that I'm trying to figure out, like, how would that work? Which, the scale is, doable. It's not a ginormous place. Like, you could do that with -4 with advanced scale. Like, that would cover the house.
Right, but I've also got to overcome to withstand. Although this place hasn't actually changed all that much in the intervening years. It's not like they've torn it down and had massive renos or anything like that, so
Right.
that might not be too bad.
Well, not that you know. of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I know of.
Mhm.
Also, just the time, though. It's a lot of time.
Right. So yeah, I have some ideas in my head of what you would get. Though it is up for Weird to decide how she's going to roll this and where she's going to cast it from and such. But yeah,
Well, I'm thinking across the way there, across that field, there's the United States Postal Service.
yes,
There's a handy dandy parking lot that just faces the house.
Mm-hmm. Faces up the
it'd be
hill.
easy enough. What's that?
It faces up a hill.
Yeah. So that would be a pretty convenient place to do the sensory range from, without drawing too much attention to us.
Mm-hmm.
So just driving around in our car repeatedly for
Well, yeah, and
hours.
I'm kind of thinking we don't want to do that, so just
Yeah,
park
no.
in the Postal Service lot, and then we can do what we want to do from there.
Yeah, you can save one reach by spending an hour in the car.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good.
And then I can get additional yantras. Well, no, I'm still limited
No,
to 3 yantras.
we did that once.
Yeah.
We're not going back there. Sorry, Marrow Eater.
And I could take more
We're
time.
not sorry.
That's a
For
couple
bonuses.
additionals. It still isn't going to help you on the reach and paradox, but
No, yeah. So that's all I kind of got, Songbird, is throw my
It's worth a shot.
awareness into
Yeah.
the time stream and
Without,
see
without
what
us
comes
having
up.
a Mystigos, like that's
Yeah, that seems
it's about the best we got. You're an investigator, right?
I am an investigator. So hopefully that would give us some clues, but we'd have to
I say
be
go for
parked
it.
here for a little while.
That's
That's fine. We'll take a nap.
Keep an eye out. Yeah.
okay. So you guys drive around
the two different thoughts there.
I'll take a nap. I'll keep an eye out. Okay,
Yeah,
well, we
'cause,
got
you know,
both
it's not
covered.
suspicious.
So yeah, you guys head over to the post office. How long do you decide that you guys are going to, well, I guess it's going to be Weird's call. How long are you going to take to cast this?
At least an hour.
Right.
So I'm just calculating the reach. I'm not going to do the scrub, so I just need one for sympathetic or one for sensory range.
Okay.
I don't need one for instant cast. I want to go advanced scale.
One for sensory range, right?
Yeah, sensory range
Okay.
and advanced scale. So that gives me 2. And what else do I want?
Potentially advanced duration, so you have more than a handful of
Like
seconds.
12 seconds, yeah.
Yeah.
Though, I
So
mean,
that's
12
good.
seconds, if you've nailed down to, a particular event.
How much
Sure
reach am I
you
going to
don't wanna
have for
scrub?
this?
You determine reach based on the highest arcana in the spell, but your spell pool is going to be based on the lowest. So you're
Right.
going to be rolling fate, but you have reach based on, or excuse me, you'll be rolling time, but you'll have
Time,
fate.
reach, face, and face. So I'm going to have 3 free reach. So I can go advanced duration as well. And I think that's it. So 3
Scale, reach,
scale,
instant.
duration, and no.
Right, not
one for
instant, right.
one for scale, one for sensory range, and one for duration.
And then one for scrubbing, or no?
No, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
I'm gonna trust the fate side that's gonna give me something.
Got one
significant.
shot.
Yep.
I get one shot at it.
Cool.
So that'll be 3 reach. So no paradox. This is 3, but I'm rolling on my primary cannon, which is 2. Penalties for potency.
So that is going to be the big thing here, because you don't now know how
Multiple
unchanged.
glimpses, right? Oh, also a stand.
The withstand for postcognition is just going to be how changed that place is versus
You know
the
what?
time that you're going to snatch out of the air.
Let's because I can go advanced potency, right?
That will not help you for this.
One,
Advanced
okay.
potency just defends against being dispelled.
This is 3 times 2. Shit. Let's try that. I don't have to increase duration. I don't have to increase scale. Or do I? Advanced scale is going to give me.
That's going to give you a large house.
Does that qualify as a large house?
Oh, actually, excuse me, small house. Hang on, I'm finding it. It does do large house. No, that is going to be like. Well, it depends on how much of the house you're, targeting. Because large house would be like, a large, normal house. This is an enormous house, so you're looking at least -4 probably in terms of scale to get the entire house.
Okay, I'm just putting it in to just see what the numbers look like.
Sure.
So shadow name. This is totally my shtick.
Mm-hmm.
Plus casting tools. That's only going to give me 6, but I can do high speech as one of those.
This is
7.
one because you guys skip this yantra a lot. But let me see here. Yantras, representational yantras. Where are they under actions?
So I'll spell it out. So I'm going to be using my shadow name and the cabal, and I've got a crystal that I'm going to be viewing through.
You can do that, but concentration is a really, really good one for +2 instead of +1 for the orb.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm. And then where is
high speech?
Oh yeah, and then high speech for 2. Yeah, and I did double check. Material sympathy is only a 2-die bonus, but that's another good one. I don't know that you necessarily have something representational of it, or a material thing of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any. Like, if I had a book or something, that might be helpful in this particular case. But I don't have any tools like that on me, so.
But high speech is better, anyways. So
yeah.
Don't fear the paradox, we hear.
Don't fear the paradox. I'm not too worried about the paradox, but
goodbye to all that mana I just gave you.
No.
No,
No.
Her reach is actually just fine for the paradox.
Oh, fair.
Willpower.
All right.
So let's see how that
we're
looks.
looking at here.
5. It's
Reach is
-1.
right.
Yeah, that's never going to work. +7 plus. So 6, if I calculate that all right.
I stopped heading for a second.
I'm punching up a spell as well. It's like while we're sitting there for like 2 hours.
Well, just an hour at this point.
Just an hour, sorry.
An hour at this point.
I reach over and like tap Atratus on the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use zoom in.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Because we're on a stakeout.
Right. Casting on both yourselves?
Yeah.
Yep.
High speech. Environment yantra of like, we're on a stakeout.
I'll give it. It's a +1.
Is that worth a +1?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm going to concentrate while we're looking.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, Craig, I think you were correct. That is 5 -1. It's 5. Yeah, 6.
All right. Here we go.
Don't worry,
I'm
guys.
back, baby.
There it is. There it is.
Nice.
Yep. So what would you like with that exceptional success?
That's a tough one, but I think I'm going to take a condition.
Okay. I think I'm going to give a +2 to subterfuge. Well, no, not subterfuge. That's the,
How about a +2 to investigation, since this is an
investigation would work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm
Sure.
okay with that. And then go ahead and roll. And don't forget to get your willpower back. And then go ahead, Chris, for the 10.
I realized I needed a -2 for scale.
Oh,
so 8 dice. Not 8 again because I'm not using my shadow name.
Cool.
Oh, okay. Hang on. For the combined spell, what?
You're not actually combining spells. You're doing a conjunctional. You're taking 2 because you're not actually doing shifting the odds and post-cognition. You're getting one effect, which is I want to see a significant event.
Sure. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's no penalties to factor in there?
Yeah, there's no -2 on that because you're not getting 2 effects, you're getting 1
okay.
off of 2 Arcana. So cool. Also, Chris, is that
I need
reach correct?
2 paradox. And I'll,
You're going to mana that up? Or
contain. No.
Okay. Roll wisdom, please.
Cool.
Cool. You take 1 bashing wound.
Cool.
Nothing else happens.
And so, like,
it's gone. It's gone by the time it's relevant. So
Right. Now, bear in mind for future summoning, because paradox.
Yes.
Yep.
that's a -1.
sure. Glad I got that out of the way after we summoned.
Right. So, yeah, you two are kind of on stakeout duty.
So what does that do? Because you didn't tell me you were
Um,
doing this. You sort of reached over and tapped my shoulder.
Yeah. I reach over and like, hey, we're on a stakeout, right? Here's your binoculars. And you have the ability to, like, the way I read it and see it, you can like control your zoom because it's forces up to a distance of 1 mile per dot of forces, up to 2 miles
That's
away.
insane.
Yep. Which is really fun when you start to talk about the other reach, like seeing microscopic particles
Mm-hmm.
and molecular
Yeah,
bonds between objects.
That's that science Obrimo shit.
Yep. So yes, while they're Craig, you have this sudden, and it's very disorienting because you're casting this big spell out there and then are suddenly whisked away, and you have no sense of where you are, other than you're in the building. And looking around, there is a ton of wall of just this gorgeous art, and very like classic European stuff. Some sculpture and busts and stuff like that. Yes.
First thing I do is activate Mage Sight, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, you see like it's just absolutely gorgeous art. It's wonderful stuff. It all belongs in a museum. And actually, just because it makes sense, you have this kind of sense of a big step in time, that big change, right? From the house that you saw before, and you watch as this woman walks in, probably in her late 30s, very, very severe, like kind of expression, hair pulled back in a tight bun, and like 1960s, kind of business suit, puffy shoulder pads, right? Is that 60s? No, that was more 80s. Sorry, I don't follow fashion. But kind of walks in and is kind of looking around and nodding. You can see like stuff is roped off and stuff like that. Very, very museum feeling. And she's holding this large stone tablet that your mage sight doesn't necessarily recognize grimoires, but based on the description that you've heard from Songbird, that is it. And it appears to have a number of you would at least recognize the matter arcana purview, a number of spells on it. It just shimmers with like the layers of spells on it. She's holding it closely to her chest as she looks about, and she kind of waves and she's, no, all of this is dross. Get rid of it all. And then just like walks forward, like through you and into another room. Behind her walk some teens, we'll say 18, 19 maybe, and they all walk in like very uniform step. They have matching suits. There's 5 of them. I didn't write down. We'll say 5 of them.
Okay.
5 matching men, and by matching I mean they are pentuplets. Matching suits, and they kind of look not in uniform, not in unison, and then start to very carefully start to remove stuff off of walls, gathering them up, and it's absolutely disconcerting to watch them move because they're all performing different actions in time with each other. It almost looks choreographed. They look very, very odd. This is something you see on stage or in a film, not people moving about cleaning up, stuff. And you're kind of standing there for a moment. I see quizzical face.
Yeah, So what am I getting
Interesting.
for fate and time for any of these folks?
Actually, time,
Um,
not much. Fate.
But I'm thinking like there's like one, based on when you were describing, there's like one chord that goes down into all 5 of them at once.
Yeah, or more specifically, they all show individual fates. They're all exact copies of each other. There's no mirroring or anything. They have the exact same possibilities in their futures.
And they're functionally identical to what I can see, basically.
Yeah, they look
Physically-
like pentuplets. Mhm.
I so want to spend some time scrutinizing them. Not that I can do that through post-cognition, but
Right.
find out these. Wow. Okay, and the book? What
Oh,
happens
the
with the book?
grimoire. Yeah. You watched this woman carrying it, and like she walked through you and walked to. Let me pull that map back up. Walk to, because I have a floor plan. Walks through what looks like a kind of cleaned out area. It's got a little nook and stuff like that for like sitting and stuff like that, and out into a large like gallery space.
Okay, is there a window nearby?
No, actually.
No external windows.
No. Ooh. Let's see here.
Skylight or anything?
That's actually was double checking. I was like, does it have a skylight? Because fortunately, I know exactly what this room looks like, and yes, there's a skylight.
Okay. I'm gonna follow the lady with the book.
Okay. You keep saying book and it messes me up, man. It's a stone tablet. I know what you meant.
Sure.
And yeah, you watch her walk through and kind of follow her out into this gallery. She walks down. There's some like furniture set out, and it feels very, very museum-like, matching like little things, and they're set up against the wall. This doesn't look like a sitting place for anybody. And there's literally little stand with little folded trifold little pamphlets, say Linwood Hall on them and stuff like that. And she kind of scoffs and rolls her eyes and just and she seems to just be walking through, taking a tour of the building. So you go down one wing and eventually she let's see, where is she at now? And kind of walks along the outside of this gallery through and past these chambers, and eventually finds one that's again roped off, so you can look into the room but you can't enter it. She removes that, drops it, and then goes and sits down on this large like bed. Looks very like 4-poster antique, gorgeous, old school bed, and just kind of frowns at the mattress, but nonetheless, and just looks, cat got into the cream, just super content and like, oh, okay. And she's just kind of lounging.
What am I getting from her mage site wise?
With fate and time, nothing particular. She doesn't, she seems, time doesn't seem to be out of it. Fate does seem to have.
Does she have that typical blossoming?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I would definitely say that you actually can tell that she's recently had a number of exceptional successes. Recently, to where she is now, beyond that of like what normal people would have, because you can see, people having their luck, how that's fared, and she seems to be riding a high point at the moment.
I'm gonna spend a mana to put death in the mix.
Nothing.
No, nothing at all.
Nope. Oh no, that's a spell. Death spell would tell you. Like, yeah. You can very quickly guess she is probably a mage, but
yeah. And she's just sitting on the bed holding the stone tablet.
At this point, she's kind of set it down. It is a big, heavy thing, but yeah, she's set, and it looks like she's she's lounging. She's given some orders, and now she's reaping the benefits, I guess.
So, I'm going to look at this own tablet, and what does that show up on for Fate Time as I'm looking at? I guess it's text of some kind.
It is cuneiform. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, it's old school cuneiform, so it's absolutely unreadable. But yeah, I mean, it is old and definitely, like, with time actually possibly stands out as having been, like, it is unchanged for centuries kind of feel.
Okay. All right, and I can't read cuneiform, so that's all fine.
I don't know that anybody who can.
Okay, so the bedroom's got to have a window.
Yes.
So I'm going to look out the window.
Mm-hmm.
And where is the bedroom?
Currently, I mean, actually, as you look out, you can see a large, like, garden, and then, like, there's a fountain out there. Based on what you've seen from driving around, it's basically there as I ping on the map. I will keep
you're
pinging.
pinging? Thanks. I got my character sheet up.
Yep.
Can you ping one more time?
Yeah. So that's what she's looking out at.
Okay. So her bedroom, like, could be in the corner or the south wing there, or on the north wing.
She's probably looking out from one of those windows.
Okay. All right. I've got it for a while because of the duration.
An hour.
So I'm trying to see, like, if she ends up placing it somewhere that looks like it's going to be of a more permanent resting place,
in
or does she just?
In the current hour, no.
Okay.
That brings us to the end of your spell.
I'm zoned out in the car for an hour, and then
that's true.
I'll come back and blink a little bit.
Cool. So you take an hour to cast, and then take an hour of.
And then I take an hour
Yeah.
of post-cognition time.
So we got some time to zoom in.
Yep.
And so are you going to roll perception to kind of see what's going on out there? Okay, cool. Yeah, both of you go ahead and roll perception. Let's say 3 times.
Okay. What is this roll again?
Wits plus composure, and then 9 again if you have trained observer.
I do.
Man, and for those of you at home, if I do quote Indiana Jones, I 100% promise it is intentional. Cool.
It was very successful.
2 out of 3.
3 out of 3, and one of them was 4.
Indeed. Okay. And so, yeah, as you guys are kind of watching, and I imagine while you guys are on lookout, you're not really caring about who's coming around from the post office. You're watching the house. And
what do my elf eyes see?
Yes, your elf eyes see the curvature of the earth. It is round. But notably,
because it's a cylinder.
Right. It's a Mobius strip. Okay, anyways. You can see there are definitely people moving in windows. And then there's easily, you both catch every time it comes around, there's a guard that is doing laps, not at the perimeter fence, but kind of around the building, not up against it on, as you can see on the map, in the grounds, but a little bit out, into this kind of very carefully cultivated brush, in amongst some trees and stuff like that, and just kind of patrolling, and easily make count. Once you guys compare numbers, Songbird, you're like, there's like 8 different people there, and Detritus goes like closer to 12. Folks that you've seen. Interestingly, you guys note that one of these guards seems to be in a lot of places all at once. Like, he seems to be moving around this building a ton. And it's like, how is he moving? And you guys kind of come to he's got to be Mastigos or something, the way he's teleporting around.
Could we make some sort of wits roll to jump to a conclusion that there's like
copies?
copies or something?
Is that like a life magic thing?
Can I roll wits plus occult?
Little metagaming fishing, but that's
yeah,
fine.
a little bit of, but no, wits plus occult, I think, is not necessarily. I'm thinking about this, but yeah, quick off the cuff thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking if it's like an arcana that we have some familiarity with.
I mean,
we might be
just because I got this condition burning a hole in my XP, and I need these arcane beats.
Yeah, with the wits plus occult roll, I will give you not necessarily being able to tell what it is, but definitely like there is something super fishy about that particular guy.
Cool.
And notably, even if he is a Mastigos, why would he be just teleporting all the time around a house? Like that's because even Mastigos have to burn mana when they're teleporting beyond line of sight. Mm-hmm. So that would be kind of ridiculous.
Right. And then I think at some point, like once I've got like the mundane like viewing of this, I flick on my mage sight.
Okay.
Because I can like zoom in and like look through some windows and stuff. And
right. Well, at this point, because you've got that wide facade, or not facade, but the frontage. What's the term? Whatever. Yeah. So you can see through these. What's on the first floor? Let's see here. Yes. Okay. So, you see, the upper level, all those windows, you never see anybody in. Curtains are pulled closed. They're nice and neat and stuff like that. Everything that you do end up seeing is basically patrolling outside or in the bottom windows. The bottom right, as we're looking here, you can see and that is a absolutely exquisite ballroom. Gold leaf on all sorts of stuff, very high end, classy stuff. Next room over looks like a small like sitting area. Middle is basically like this. You can see a lot of columns inside. To the left of that, on that bottom level is another kind of sitting room, and then on the farthest left windows, you can see a banquet hall level dining room, large room. But yeah, through there you can see the guards. You do not pick up any active magic through those windows.
Okay.
And then 2 hours goes by, and Weird kind of goes.
At some point, we, I think, see all that we need to see, and I drop that zoom in spell.
All right. Wow.
You want to go first, or you want us to talk about what we've seen?
Why don't I take a few moments to collect my thoughts? You guys go first.
Cool.
It's full of people. There's guards.
All you have seen have look like guards.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of guards patrolling.
And there's like one guy that's just like
everywhere
hopping
at once.
And bopping around. He's like everywhere at once. Like he was outside and he's up in a window, and then he's very strange.
Yeah, a bunch of guards, most of them the same guard.
So could that, and I'm extrapolating a little bit, suppose there was only, that it wasn't one guard, that it wasn't a bunch of guards. Hang on, that's right. Let me phrase this right. How many guards do you think there were, assuming they all look the same?
I counted like 12.
Like 12.
If actually, yeah, let's just do a straight up intelligence plus wisdom.
Plus wisdom?
Wits.
Okay.
Have I been making it an Eberron character recently? No.
Oh, man.
Yes.
Oh, with 9 again, even. Yeah, so what I will give you... Oh, there you go.
Summer got it, though.
With that one intelligence. But yeah, what
it's
I will,
mostly the wits.
I will give Ash is like, you're definitely like, well, if the guy who looked like he was teleporting around is only one guy, there's still like 12 people.
Okay. So I saw the house right after it was purchased. And I think
Okay.
it was about the same time the grimoire went missing. Am I reading that right?
Well,
Because you threw some 80s references in there as well. But
Yeah, no, 80s references were completely wrong.
Okay.
It's because his fashion was off.
Yeah, my fashion was off.
Wait, so the mage like getting rid of the art that was in like the 60s or
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
there was this woman, appeared to be a woman, who had 5
Appreciate that.
identical, I want to say servants. It was weird though, because they're like they had individual fates and stuff, but there was this overarching sort of a commonality to their fates. Like they were not just clones, but actual copies.
The exact same person 5 times.
Could be. I'd really love to have a scrutiny of that. But if you're telling me there's more of them now, then maybe there's more. I don't know if there's something in life that can do that. That's out of
Now,
my
Seems
purview.
like life magic.
Just to clarify, if like Atreides' count of 12 people is considering that the one guy who seemed to be in a bunch of places was only one of the guards. There are 11 other folks. That
Other
look
people
different.
that look different. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they were, when I saw them, they were like teenagers.
Mhm.
And they were definitely servants to the woman who had the tablet and was kind of cradling it as she walked around the house. And she was, there were ropes and stuff up in certain doorways. And she was telling the kids, like, all of that trash has to go. She would just move ropes out of the way and go and sit down. And I guess where there was displays when the house was open to the public.
Mhm.
So she definitely took over and was in the process of moving in and making design decisions and things like that.
Can I,
And she had the grimoire then.
Can I try and rub my 2 little neurons together to figure out if this is a like spell effect or something I would have heard of before?
Which part? I mean, yes, but
like
which part are
copies.
you rolling for?
The
Yeah.
copies of people.
That would be intelligence plus occult.
Because it seems like a life spell.
You can roll
You're better at
intelligence
life
plus
spells
occult.
than
I'm gonna rub my 2 little, like I said, 2 neurons, 2 dice.
Yeah, to actually do the math on this.
2 up, 2 down, VA all day.
Did you get the
Get a plus
occult
2.
modifier twice?
Oh, god damn it.
And what were your 2? Nope. Womp womp. But yes, if either of you,
Never mind.
Can I try again?
all 3 of you, yeah, well, intelligence plus occult to actually like figure out, okay, especially with Weird's suggestion that they're the same person, or with the 9 again.
I rolled it on 9 again, but I still succeeded on the
10.
first.
Actually, you rolled 0 9s.
I rolled 0 9s, so it's fine.
That's funny. So yeah, okay. No, you recognize, especially because it is actually one of the things that is in the Athenaeum in New York. You recognize the description of the hive sold, SOULD, ED, and they are twins, triplets, pentuplets, sextuplets, etc., who are born and then they share a soul. What happens
I
to
remember reading
one?
about these.
Yes, you do. What happens to one happens to the others. They have an innate knowledge of where each other are. They move in sync. What one knows, the other knows. They share a soul and all the stuff that comes with that. They are absolutely terrifying to fight because you don't have ninjas taking turns fighting you one at a time. All 5 of them attack you from 5 different angles all at the same time.
And perfect coordination.
Right. Absolutely terrifying to fight.
Sounds like fun.
Right. But also, you can send them off on, I need you guys to go pick up these 5 different things.
Right.
And, they can coordinate and stuff. Or you keep, send off 4 of them, keep one with you to get updates and stuff like that. They're super, super useful. And they're used by the exarchs, the seers of the throne that serve the hegemony. Or also known as unity.
Unity.
So cool. And unless you guys have something real quick to throw in, we're going to go to a break.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, with the revelation that seer stuff. And there's the grimoire is here. We've found it. Now we just gotta get it out. Yeah, so that is where the Cabal will pause today. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, come join us on Discord. Our Discord is pretty awesome. And those of you in chat, hi, I know you're in the Discord. So like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. And Twitch folks, we will see you in a couple minutes. YouTube folks, we will see you on the next episode. We love you. Bye-bye.
Stay lucky.